I am now live, coming to you live. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble. Hey, what's up, everybody? What's happening? Thanks for joining me live, my Insta Live, if you will. Thanks. Love my sweater, do you? Sick. Thank you. It was a Christmas gift. Now, you're probably wondering why I have a shirtless Rob Lowe behind me. Well, I happen to be house sitting for the man. These are his wonderful sons, John, Owen, and Matthew. And that's why they're behind me. So, pretty excited about my guest today. I am going to bring her in very shortly here. I know she's standing by. Let's see if I can figure out how to do this. It's been a while. Let's go. We're going to go to the view requests. Boom. Nope, I can't do that one. See, this is good that I'm figuring out how to do this, because we got a great big Insta Live happening December 31st, and I'm going to be bringing all kinds of celebrity guests on, and it'll be nice for me to figure out how to do that. So let's see here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the people. I'm going to go live with, that's what I do, Greater Good Charities. Boom. Guest, my only guest for today, is Liz Baker. She's the CEO of Greater Good Charities, our charity partner for Feed Thy Neighbor. Liz has overseen the distribution of over $350 million in grants all over the globe. And she'll be talking to us today about how grants will be made through Feed Thy Neighbor, and how we're structuring this effort to really be as effective as possible to help our neighbors in need. To date, Greater Good Charities has provided $18 million in support for COVID-19 disaster relief. $18 million so far. That's in cash grants, that's in kind supplies, and programmatic support. I want to say hi to everybody. We're waiting for her to respond here. And you know, we should know the Greater Good Charities is a 501c3. It's a national nonprofit organization. The Feed Thy Neighbor campaign is going through Greater Good Charities. There's this wonderful thing called Charity Navigator. If you're ever donating to a charity, you should check out Charity Navigator. They'll give a rating to the charity, because some charities are kind of bogus. They skim off the top. Not Greater Good. They have 100 out of 100 rating for Charity Navigator, which means the money that they raise actually goes to help. You know, because a lot of nonprofit organizations, they get unrestricted funds, and they're like, "Hey, my cousin needed a job. He works for the charity. He gets $500,000 a year to live here with me." Hey-oh, that happens, you know, but not with my friend Liz at Greater Good Charities. I'm going to try to find her again, because honestly, I think I screwed it up. Let's go, baby. I think what's happening, if I'm correct here, is boom, we're going to send another request to you, Liz. I think you might be watching. Send request. Hey-oh. And hopefully she'll join us soon. Hey! There you are, Liz.
Sorry
nice
about
to
that.
see you.
How
It's
are
good.
you?
It's actually good. I saved you the trouble of having to hear me brag about you. I've been sitting here talking about your extraordinary organization, how you're 100 out of 100 on Charity Navigator, the $18 million in relief you've given to COVID-19 thus far. Thrilled to have you on here.
Thank
I know
you.
all
I'm
my
thrilled to be here.
followers are happy to have you here. So as everybody knows, we're doing this extraordinary Instagram-a-thon, and we're raising money for Greater Good and Feeding America. So I've got a lot of questions I wanted to ask you, because I'm a little new to this world, you know.
Sure.
And I think a lot of people, they can be weary about making donations to nonprofits.
Absolutely.
So they can be weary in general about their funds going to help when there's corruption and there's, you know, just a lack of trust of handing your money over to someone that money's actually going to do some good. So I was hoping you could help me with sort of creating the distinction. First, let's talk about food pantries and food banks. What's the difference between a food pantry and a food bank, and how does it all work?
Yeah, so great question. So if you sort of think of a hub and spoke model, food banks, and there's about 200 of them in the US, are large nonprofit organizations, typically warehouses, and they source the food and they store the food. They typically do not give it out in the community. Their function is to bring in the food and then get it out to what are called food pantries. Now, food pantries are sort of like the arms of the community, and there's probably about 60,000 of them in the US, and they can range in size. They can be mobile food pantries, and they really serve a specific community, and in some cases a very specific need in a community, like elderly or a homeless population, or in some cases schools. And so the food pantries will go to the food banks and collect the food, and that's the difference.
Great. And so a food bank might be miles, tens, 20s, hundreds of miles away from a community, and you're not going to be able to jump in your car and drive 150 miles to get a free meal.
No.
So a food pantry is going to grab that and bring it to these communities. Now,
absolutely.
So we've done some great things. Half of the donations we're giving to Feeding America, because Feeding America handles the meals. Feeding America puts the meals into the food bank. Yeah. The food pantries themselves are typically nonprofit businesses. Correct. That are, as you know, they're estimating that 22,000 nonprofits are going to go out of business because of this COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of those are terrifying. So the pantries they're not going to be solvent. They're not going to be in business. They're not going to be able to take the food from the bank that might be in the city and bring it out to the need in the country. Right. Okay. So that's what we're giving cash grants to pantries.
We need them to stay in business. It's one piece of this puzzle is not more important than the other piece of the puzzle. Right. And with the food insecurity growing, and and I think I really want to have people think about this, that the people that you think are hungry and using food pantries, it's not who you think they are. These are people that you know. Yeah. And we need the food banks and we need the food pantries to stay in business, or we can't get the meals to the people that actually need them. So it's critical that they're in business.
Got it. Understood. And so you said food insecurity. I've heard that term. Describe what that is.
It's, I mean, at its very basically, it's access to healthy, nutritious meals consistently. Got it. And unfortunately, because of this pandemic, and because of really unforeseen circumstances, I mean, and that, for everyone, but there are people that, two parents had been working and one lost a job, or a single mother, or elderly, or, I mean, for whatever reason, and now they don't have access to food and they're not able to eat, which is a basic human right. Yeah. Access to food for your family, access to food for yourself is a basic human right. And this is, I mean, the stats, like Feeding America estimates there's 6 to 8 billion meal shortage because of this pandemic. And again, these are your neighbors. That's right. Why the name of your campaign, of our campaign, is so appropriate. And people should not be ashamed to ask for help, and people should not be ashamed to feed their families. Right. And these food pantries and these food banks are critical right now. Critical. Right.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. I love the idea that there is a need, and there are people willing to meet that need. And we're trying out this donate button. It's actually during this live right now, so you can actually click to donate. And when you do, you're connecting your service with the person in need. You might not know who that person is, right, but I guarantee that connection, it puts an invisible thread between you and that person. Yep. And that is the fabric of our society. I'm a patriotic American. Look, I'm wearing this wonderful sweater my wife for the holidays. And I see the fabric of this society being ripped, and it tears me apart. And I think this is an opportunity to take a million little threads to
Yeah.
tie your service with the need of somebody else. You can help repair that fabric. No matter what you believe or where you stand, we can all
Yeah.
come together with the idea that
it doesn't, I mean, and it's, you know, if we are blessed right now to have extra $5, we are giving $5. If you give us $5 will go out to help feed people.
Right.
If that's what you have, please give it. It's enough.
Yeah.
It's enough.
$1 equals 10 meals.
$1.
And each of these dollars will be split up between Feeding America and the Greater Good food pantries, so that we can keep these people in business, so that we can provide PPEs, so that they can be handing out food in the middle of the pandemic. There's a massive need right now. Talk about this need. What's different about this need versus previous needs in recent American history?
I mean, you know, hunger and food insecurity has always been an issue, but you know, they're estimating, I don't know, 50 million households. 17 million children. And again, it's people are losing their jobs. You know, some people are more isolated, and it's not just, you know, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. And so where you had the ability to provide food for your family, you know, if the income isn't there, you know, it's impossible to do it. And, and so it's, I mean, this really just is unprecedented. And people, I mean, 40% of the people that are going into food banks right now and food pantries have never been there before.
Right. Wow. So
and we have to destigmatize it. If you cannot give $5, then research food insecurity and research food banks and food pantries in your community and put it out there and tell people, because you know somebody who has food insecurity. They're just not telling you. And tell them there is no shame in feeding your family. In feeding your neighbor.
Yeah, that's really what this is about. And it's not a long-term fix, because I have faith that this pandemic will be behind us eventually. Everyone's done everything they've been told to do. Some places have shut down their economies entirely. We flattened the curve. We're doing our best to keep people alive. Like, our approach to this pandemic has the country divided, just like a lot of things do right now. But one thing I think we can agree upon is where we are right now is there's people are hungry.
Yeah.
And this is a way to get food in the mouths and to truly take that feed thy neighbor. That's what we're called to do.
Yeah. I mean, it's dignity. I mean, food, again, it's a basic human right. You need it to exist.
Yeah.
You need it to exist. And you know, we are giving 100% of the money raised out. We are, you know, you asked about transparency. You know, we are very big on transparency. We have to be. But because of our partners at 12 Tomatoes and the Hunger Site, who are covering 100% of the credit card fees, we are giving out 100% of your donations. We're going to publish that. We are going to publish after a long vetting process. We're going to look at the 50% is going to Feeding America. The other 50%, we're taking applications. We have expert vetters. We're working with other partners on the ground. We're going to identify where the need is great. We're going to get the money out there like immediately. And then we are going to report back, because that is how you measure impact.
Let me ask you this: what's the process for deciding who will be receiving cash grants in, like, you know, unrestricted operational use? So, like, who are you picking to help keep solvent through this crisis with the half of the donations that go towards the food pantries? What's the process?
Yeah, so I mean, it could be a food bank, it could be a food pantry, some sort of other hunger organization that is, you know, critical. And we're going to be looking at data like, where is it hardest hit? Where is the need the greatest? We're working with Feeding America, who's providing us their real-time data. They will have to apply. We will look at all of this information. We have experts on staff. They have to go through a big, long vetting process, not just organizationally to make sure that, you know, everything's in line from the organization, but that the need is there. Then they have to sign partnership contracts. Then they have to report back on us how the money was spent with stories. And again, all of this will be published. Great. Every dime we raise, you will see go out.
Wow. That's great, and that's not always the case, I think, with unfortunately in the nonprofit world, and
Yep.
I'm really happy. That was why I was really intentional about who I chose to partner with on this, because I know you guys are really transparent, and I am grateful to the companies that are covering the credit card fees on this,
Yeah.
because every single cent that gets donated is going to need. So that's
Yep.
great. I'm certainly not taking a salary. None of my celebrity guests come New Year's Eve will be taking a salary. I know you're not.
Yeah.
You know, you're like no one's. No, we're not skimming off the top. This is straight going straight to the need, which is
100%. And right now we have the Clintworth Family Foundation, who are just amazing people in and of themselves. Yes. And they're matching another $50,000 right now. So your donation, every donation is now doubled. So if you donate $5, you're actually donating $10.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. And I put this on my stories earlier, but if you are a member, or if you're a person who has a foundation and you want to get your name out there, you can actually reach out to Noah, feedthyneighbor@greatergood.org. It's feedthyneighbor@greatergood.org. Talk to Noah. And if you're interested in doing a dollar for dollar match, I'll put you on my stories and I'll give you exposure for your foundation. We really need all the help that we can get. Yeah. And let me ask you this question. Obviously, this is Feeding America, and this is talking about a crisis in America, but there's a food shortage crisis around the world, because this pandemic is not just a domestic issue.
Absolutely, yeah.
So is there a way the people, I don't care if you donate through Feeding America or through Greater Good Charities. I'm just really hope that I can motivate people to donate anywhere. If people live in, say, Brazil, or they live in London, or they live outside of the U.S., is there a resource for where they can have their money make the biggest impact if they are hoping to donate to help their local communities?
Yeah, I mean, so we work in about 39 countries with food insecurity, for everything from refugees to education to, so you could check out greatergood.org. There's a lot of really good national nonprofits that address that too. And local nonprofits in your area. And so if you live in Brazil and you want to impact your community, Google it, look it up.
That's really nice. I appreciate that. Is there anything else you feel like you want to kind of talk about or address as we close this out to talk?
I just want to say thank you to you, like really sincerely, and just really challenge people right now. If you can't donate, volunteer. Yeah. Volunteer, do something. If everybody did one thing, we wouldn't be where we are. And you have to be careful with COVID, and you have to follow instructions. But, as we get out of this, money is amazing and money is going to help us. Volunteer your time. And then finally, destigmatize this. Yeah. Everybody needs help at some time in their life. Yeah. Everybody needs help. There's nothing wrong in asking for help. Yeah. You're right. You're right. It's hard. It's hard to ask for help. I understand. I get it. I get it. I think that there's this ideology, I think, and maybe it's typically American, where we're going to stand on our own 2 feet and we don't take handouts. And I understand that. And it's okay to understand that we're in unprecedented times. And quite honestly, if you're a parent and you're facing food insecurity and you're trying to feed your children, I think it's pretty easy to make the right choice and just accept help right now and understand. Look, I was in a situation where I was a young person. We lived next to a food bank, and we hit some really tough financial times. My dad was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. He lost his job. We lost our house. We moved to a trailer park. It was really, it was a hard thing. And there were moments in my life where my family relied on a food bank. I came from conservative roots, but there are times when you need to accept help. Yeah. It's a big step, and it's not easy. I get it. It's not easy. And you also don't want to make excuses. So I understand that mentality, but at the same time, I think we have to overcome that, especially in this moment right now. Absolutely. Do what's right for your family, for your friends, for your kids, and for your neighbor, and support each other. Yeah. Support each other. That's it. Liz, God bless you for your work that you do. Really cool. Really cool. It's a privilege. It's a privilege and an honor. It really is. That's great. So. Well, I appreciate it. I look forward to
working with you some more, discussing further down the road. I want to thank everyone for joining this Instagram Live and for making the donations. Look, we made $3,000 over the course of this week.
Amazing. And so that's actually 6 because of the Clintworth match. So
yeah, thank you to the Clintworth Family Foundation for matching that. We've got $6,000 extra to put into the pot. We're trying to raise $500,000. I think we're
going to do it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it.
That's not counting the $100,000 that I'm putting in to match
right.
dollar.
And thank you.
No problem. It's my pleasure. All right, guys. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Liz. Thank you for your time, and look forward to getting this going. All right. God bless you.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.